Hi, everybody.
Okay, I'm not really ready.
Looks like we are live. When you are on with us and you can hear us, if you can just send us a wave or a comment or something, just let us know that you can hear us okay. And if you are new here, then welcome. My name's Lindsay. This is Jess. We're here every Tuesday at 7:30 answering questions that are sent in by you guys. Tonight, the question that we're answering is, do men or women dominate the equine industry? And we've kind of put a few questions, lumped a few questions together for this one. The first one being, why are there so many more men in the open when the majority of non-pro riders are women? The second one being, is it harder for women to make it as horse trainers than men? And the third one, are men more abusive to horses than women are? So we're going to try to dive into those things. We would love to know your thoughts. Thank you if you did send in your thoughts already, if you replied to the email that went out this morning, or if you sent us a message on Facebook or Instagram. We appreciate those. We always are interested in hearing what you guys think. If we get cut off, or if you have to leave partway through and you want to catch the replay, the best way to do that is to make sure that you are signed up with us. I've added the link here. I hope that you can see it. It's hayescofalperformancehorses.ca/subscribe. That gets you onto our email list, which will get you the replay sent to your inbox next week on Tuesday, as well as anything else that we have going on. Clinics, what's going on in Momentum, products from our tack shop, all the good things. And if you have a question or a topic that you'd like to submit, then you can send that in to us at our email, which is hayescofalph@gmail.com. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, so the first question, it looks like a bunch of you guys are on here. If you can hear us, if you're watching, just let us know, say hi. That would be super. First question, why are there so many more men in the open when the majority of the non-pro riders are women? So it sounds to me like this question is about the NRHA, where in the upper levels of the open, we primarily see men, whereas the lower levels of the open and all of the levels of the non-pro are vastly female. Do you want to take that and roll with it?
You started.
You, me? Okay, first of all, these are hard questions. You guys sent in some questions that are challenging to answer.
Can I start one thing off?
You go ahead.
And this is not about the question.
Yeah.
When we talk about the majority, I think it also goes, it should be put out there very first thing. There is a couple of, or not a couple, there's a lot of women in the higher ranks of all three of, like the cutters, the reiners, and the cow horses, that are women all across the world. You know, so it's not a thing where we're saying, I think that goes, you know, we should put that out there first. There's just so many of them that just the numbers are more. I think that's something that should be put out there.
Okay.
That's all I want to say.
Okay. Okay, so why are there so many more men in the open? I think a lot of things. I think what it comes down to, we're going deep right off the bat. What it comes down to is that even from the very, very early stages, traditionally, little baby girls are more developed in their language skills and their caretaking skills, and little boys are more advanced in their physical skills. And I do think that carries through all the way through their lives, that it's not just about men having larger hearts and larger lungs and, you know, being stronger or faster or, you know, whatever. I think that definitely can help in some areas, but I don't think that's the main reason why. I think the main reason is that men are more willing to go to the extreme on a horse than women are. Not in terms of, you know, we're going to get to abuse and stuff here, but like, I think men typically are more comfortable or more inclined to go really fast, go really hard, push the limit, not be afraid to fall off or for stuff to go whack. That's my thought. What's your thought? I mean, no, you say your thought first.
I agree that, and everybody can bash on it for whatever, 2022 now. You know, whatever your thoughts are, man and woman, but I do agree that there is a deep down in our brain, you know, women take care of things better, whether it be the family, like, you know, around here, you take care of everything on the farm way more, and I come out and do the, you know, ride the horses. And I can stay out here later at night, most nights. I can come out here early in the morning, and that's just how we are all programmed to a big degree. Not that you can't make that work, and it does work, but I think on a big role. And I think when you go to a lot of farms, you do see it, a lot of assistant trainers, and trainers are men. A lot of the grooms are women. And I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I think it's just the way our brains are, you know, set up to be.
Okay, I'm going to take that a step further. I think I agree with you for the most part, like traditional gender roles or whatever, but I also think that what makes somebody a really successful high level rider is also the support that that person has behind them, and that typically women provide that support. That women following traditional gender roles will take care of, like you said, the paperwork, the advertising, the, you know, all of those. They are the people that build up the person who is doing the riding. The person who is doing only the riding, that's what you have to do to be at the top level of everything. You have to be so specialized. And in order to be that specialized, you have to have a support system. So whether it's a wife, which in most cases it seems to be, or whether it's, you know, mom and dad, or, you know, whoever, a team, maybe it's a team, maybe it's a paid team, but that support system being there allows there to be that higher echelon of specialty. Is that basically the same thing you were saying?
Don't know,
Just in
because
a
I don't know
different
what
way.
echelon means, so I'm out. Yeah, like I think I don't know that the phrase "it just happens that way." It just like.
I don't think that.
And I think the support part of it is one part of it, and like you said, the other one is guys will open them colts up a little bit and maybe get into some trouble sometimes with the colts. You know, maybe don't play it as safe all the time, and I think that's for sure. I mean, especially with us, you know,
Me and you,
right?
Lindsay and Jess, yeah.
You know, like I'll get on some of them colts sometimes and kind of laugh about it and go, okay, we're gonna, you know, step up here, or it ain't going right, and you know, we're just gonna push through it. And you'll kind of safety up. I don't think I'm saying anything wrong with that. It's just that's the way we are. And I think that, especially on, like everybody wants it to be so perfect when they're riding horses, but if you're going to make horses, you can't be perfect all the time. You have to kind of push them a little bit, find them buttons, find them holes where you can fix them and make stuff work. And I think that's just how our brains
Yeah. I think it's interesting too because what we were talking about last week with the English versus Western and stuff, and we were talking about which one's harder. And after we finished that one, I was thinking about how I think it would be easier for me to ride upper level dressage than it is for me to ride upper level cow horses, and it would be easier for you to ride it is easier for you to ride upper level cow horses than it would be for you to ride dressage horses, based on our personalities and our
I was
strengths.
going to say, I think that's personality, though. That has nothing to do with genders.
Doesn't have anything to do with,
We're just wrapped hugely different.
yeah.
There's no debate in that one.
I feel like, okay, why, we don't need to get into like, this is going into like marriage or something here. So
No,
let's
but I mean,
stick to-
if we're riding colts and one acts up a little bit, I mean, I'll laugh at it and kind of kick it forward and say, let's go, and kind of push them around a little bit. Or if like a colt's tied out in the arena and we're loping around, I'll kind of push them over just for fun.
yeah,
And that's not your personality.
I used to get a kick out of that more. I don't think I ever got as much of a kick out of that as you do on your worst day. But I used to get a kick out of that more when I was younger and before I had babies. That was definitely a big thing for me. But this is not about me.
And I think that's another part too, is
That a lot of people say that though. A lot of women riders say that they're not as brave after they have babies, which makes sense. I think that's all
I'm not as brave.
physiological.
Even I'm not as brave after the girls were born.
No,
I
you've said
remember
that
with
before
Caitlin,
too.
like it really freaked me out for a while, and I'm definitely not as brave. Whether it be age too, but I think, and that's something that happens, is okay when you had Mac. There's a time when I can't feed the baby.
There was a lot of time when you can't feed the baby. Yeah.
Well, I mean,
I don't mean that against you. I just mean that's the
science
way it
of it. That's
works.
the biology part of
biology,
it
yeah.
And you have to care for that baby a little bit, and whatever. But I think it just how would you say 95%? I don't know the exact numbers, but let's say 95% of people, that's what's going to happen. A lot of young ladies start to be assistant trainers, start to kind of come up, and there's some, like I can think, some of the cow horse ladies that had kids and were right back on them horses and right back showing and stuff with support systems, obviously. It can be done, but it's hard. I think it's just harder. I don't think there's any, getting back to like you were talking about the size of our heart, the size of our, I don't think any of that comes into training because we don't use it all the time. Now, if you're starting, let's say kind of rude colts or bad colts, but those ain't show horses. If you're starting show horses, you don't need to be able to bench press.
No,
Whatever,
but
or
being
do 100.
strong makes it a lot easier for you to do chores, like to do stuff around the farm, clean stalls, throw hay, that kind of stuff. You can do that with a lot more ease and without getting as fatigued, even when we're both at our fittest. Can I say that?
Which one of us are at our fittest right now?
Well,
We've been locked down for 3 years, let's face it.
but you know what I mean? You like it. Not.
Oh, no doubt.
I agree
I
with
can
you.
throw
Like,
hay, I can
the
throw
amount of
grain bags in.
physicality that it takes to go and show an open level horse, I think men and women both can do pretty reasonably, but and the amount of physicality that it takes to do barn chores, most men and most women can do, but it's easier. I think both of those things probably are a fair bit easier for
And I think most
somebody
barns
who's
only
stronger,
work
not
well.
just men or women, but a stronger person, an athlete.
Right. And
Yeah.
most barns to work well have to have both genders at them.
Barn work. Yeah.
Like I've said for years, and when I hire a groom, one guy, I'm going to say one guy worked for me years ago. He was great. He was a great groom. He could do manes and tails like nobody else. But on a majority, A girl's going to take care of those manes and tails better. She's going to take care of the tackle better, like that kind of stuff. Not always, but on a majority. And then at the same time, if I'm going to hire somebody to come out and do fencing with me or do hay or whatever, you know, there's a better suited person for that. You know, big, tall, and not, you know, stronger.
Experience doing it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, you know, the same with like mechanical stuff. You know, there is different roles. I think the farms that work the best is definitely when there's both come into it. You know, I mean, I can think of a handful of women in the NRHA who, I mean, boy, they can open a horse up and, you know, they ain't scared of nothing when they're running around. What is there? There's Anne Funk and Don Boyd's daughter, Abigail Mixon, and you know, it can go on, and Jenkins,
Miriam Stillo, and Carol Metcalf, and Marcy Vermeer. And
yeah,
there's all
you know,
kinds of
there's lots of them that can do it.
Yeah.
And then the cow horse, of course, you know, Sarah Dawson and Erin, I can never pronounce her, Termino. And then in the cutters this year at the fraternity, there was a whole whack of women, but I noticed there was quite a few women. One lady had 2 or 3 back in herself, and there was a couple in there that, you know, sure had nice horses. I think the biggest thing that I see with it is just there's so many that, like, you got to have that whole system in place, and that's hard.
Yeah.
You know, it's dang hard.
Yeah. Because, like, somebody's not getting paid, usually. There's usually somebody in there that's not really getting paid, right?
Me? When do I get paid?
No, never mind. I mean, like, a lot of the trainers, the wives kind of work without getting paid, right?
That's what I mean. In this deal, when do I get paid?
Next question.
All right.
Is it harder for women to make it as horse trainers than men?
I feel like we kind of touched on that.
Yeah, I think we did. Should we just check and see what people are saying here? Rob's saying behind every good man. Yeah. Rose is saying, I think men are more supported. Nancy, thumbs up.
I think men are more supportive too.
Supported, not supportive.
No, I think we're more supportive.
Oh, gosh.
You want to show a horse, we always make sure you have.
Excuse me? 1. How many do you get to show? Give me a break. Men are more competitive. Ann White saying men are more competitive. Don't say anything. I know you're gonna say I'm
not in
but
this
you know
household.
What? You know what though? That is a funny joke that we always laugh about. I find it a little bit sexist, to be honest. Oh, I don't know what it is.
I don't think it, yeah, like
I find it a little bit sexist. Competitive because I'm a woman. If I say
no, it's because you come across as not competitive until you're at the horse show.
I want to win,
and
but then
you
people
would,
think
like,
it's funny that I want to win, and I don't think that that's funny.
It's not about you being a woman. Nobody expects it because you're kind of toned down
Because
everywhere else,
I'm-
and then all of a sudden it's showtime, and you're just like.
But I'm not mean. Don't give me that. I'm not mean.
You're very.
I get focused before I go in and show.
And I don't think there's any difference in men and women.
Before you go in and show.
I mean,
we laugh about me being competitive, but I am not more competitive than you are.
Oh yes, you are.
And it's not. I'm not more competitive than you are. When I have been competing, you have been the one looking through the world standings and checking out my competitors and.
Because I'm supportive.
Okay. Okay.
And I think it's too general to say men or women are more.
Yeah, let's.
Either way, because.
Yeah. Are men more abusive to horses than women are? I got to figure out how to get these comments back. I did something here and I cannot get them back.
I don't think men or women
My hands are too cold.
are more abusive than the others. I think in general, though, it's done at a different way.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
And I think what you'd normally see if a woman's horse is abused on, they've really been picked on, they've really been,
It's smaller, sharper pressure.
yeah. And then a guy, if they're gonna abuse a horse, it's gonna be more like big dull thumps, big, boom boom, okay, but now it's done. And I don't think either one's better, but I think normally they come at it a different way. And when I don't know if it's an observation that I should say, but when I see a horse that's been usually abused by a woman, they will be in the stall and they'll be like that, and they're worried, and they're kind of it's really in their brain. And then when I see one that's abused by a guy, they're usually like, you open the stall door and they kind of big burst and they kind of jump to the back of the stall. It's just a different way they're into their brains. I don't know if I'm explaining that right, but
Yeah, that's interesting.
and it's the same like when you see them ride out in the pen. Usually a woman's horse, they react different because of the way they've usually been. And again, it's generalizing because I've seen some women stomp on some horses, and I've seen some men pick on a horse too. But generally, that's normally what I see. It's just a different type of abuse, unfortunately.
But not one more than the other. It's hard to say because there's so many more women that ride horses, I think. And
I think we hear about it in the media more with the men because, again, we're getting into more of the trainers are men. So when it happens, everybody talks about it because it's one of the trainers. So everybody knows the name. I remember there was a few years ago and there was a bunch of Western Pleasure, and there was a woman, what was her name? Doesn't matter. She was a Western Pleasure trainer, and she was up on charges, and so was another guy that was thing, and both of them were just barbaric. It was unbelievable what they did and did for a while. But
it was a couple, like it was a
no, they were just two different trainers,
separate people.
but they were trainers. So we heard about it a lot. It was really not just with Facebook, but just like everybody was talking about it because they were trainers. And then I've seen just as abusive stuff come from non-pros at horse shows, and it just doesn't get talked about as much because not everybody knows the name. It's not the fad thing to talk about, but unfortunately it happens from both genders, and
Keep your phone.
unfortunately it's just something that happens. And
So for some reason I can see what you guys are saying. But Anne and Delana both wrote in and had some kind of interesting points that they said. So Anne said, in general, horse owners believe a man can take their horses to the winner's circle more often and more readily than women. Do you agree with that?
no,
Do you think there just are more of them?
there's more of them. It's such a hard thing to compare. I feel like I don't know. Like, it's such a hard thing to compare, and I guess I don't really have I don't think so.
Okay, Anne also said there's still a physical perception out there that women are weaker than men and less capable to train a horse at the highest level. We need to be reminded that it's not about brute force anymore. So I think there's two sides of that. And one of the questions here was, is it harder for women to make it as horse trainers than men? I think some horse trainers, and I know that when I was out on my own, there were lots of people that wanted to send me horses to ride because they thought that I would be more gentle. You know, I was physically lighter and because I'd be more gentle. So I don't know that, I think there's probably benefits both ways. On that. The brute force thing is interesting. Do you think very many people think that you have to be very strong to get a horse broke? I think people with bad horses do.
Well, like there are some
People
horses.
with bad horses think,
Like the
I
nice
need a
horses, I would hand
cowboy.
to you and say, "Here you go." You know.
yeah.
But them bad ones, I mean, yeah, if you're gonna, you know, if you're gonna ground drive one and they're gonna take to honking and bucking, and you got to sit your own feet down on the ground and pull one around, you, yeah, there is for that. There definitely is.
You're stronger, yeah.
But those rotten old buggers anymore are getting fewer and far between, thank God. And the good ones, I think. I think some people still think that way, but on a majority, it definitely
I don't think so much for show horses.
right.
For
Like
bad horses, you know, horses that are misbehaving, I think some people think that. But
I always used to get a kick more so when I was younger, not so much anymore because I told all those people to bugger off. But I remember being a young guy, and people would send me colts and say, "Well, I don't want to get hurt, you know, so we'll just send them to you."
yeah.
What's the difference? And you're thinking, what am I, chop liver?
But I don't know that people would send them to you because you're a guy, because so many people are like, "Oh, I'll just get some young girl to ride it at the barn for me." I think people do that. Like, they just
That's
don't
an
want to be
age
the
thing,
one.
not a gender
I don't
thing?
know. Yeah, I don't know if it's an age thing or a gender thing.
That used to always bug me when people would say that, and I just figured.
I
it's
just
'cause I
don't
was
want to
younger.
get hurt. Yeah, you cowboy it. Then there's the issue of taking direction from a woman. Many guys can't handle that. So I'm not sure what part of these questions that refers to.
I don't really have a say in that because the farms that I worked at when I was younger, I didn't have, and it wasn't that I picked and went to work at those farms because it was a guy or a woman trainer. I just, those are the people that were showing, that was who I took a job with. And, I mean, I guess you could ask ex-girlfriend's ex-wife and my now wife, and I don't take direction from anybody according to all them. So, but that's a different story.
Wow. We stay on topic here.
I just don't take direction well. I don't know if it's any different from
I don't find, for teaching, I don't find that the men that I teach have a harder time taking direction from me, but they're also in a situation where they have come and they have paid me for my direction. But I do find that a lot of times they are more comfortable taking direction from you, and a lot of times women are more comfortable taking direction from me. Which makes sense, because we're talking about their hips and their butts and their chests and their, you know, we're talking about, you know, tilt your pelvis this way, and, you know, that makes sense. And I think for the most part, I like teaching men, but I'm probably more comfortable teaching women for that reason. I do a lot of like giving examples of what my body is doing, and I feel more comfortable for I'm kind of used to it now, but feel more
And I'm just
comfortable
thinking
doing it
back
for
to
women. And I know you feel more comfortable doing it. You know, there's a lot of times where you'll say, it's probably more times where you'll say, you know, can you help that person with this, because it's just weird.
I think
Especially
an assistant
young
trainer
girls.
idea, though. I mean, I've had a few assistant trainers over the years that were women. I don't know if it was ever weird with the assistant trainers near as much because you work with them all day long, which was a little different than like somebody coming in for an hour lesson. So like you don't have to.
I I'm not sure what you mean. So it's not uncomfortable for you to teach an assistant trainer who's a woman?
Yeah, like it's a different way you can work with somebody who's your assistant. Like talking about trainers, just trainers. But having an assistant trainer as a woman, because you're riding all day long, and it's more, if you've hired him as an assistant, you better be just explaining what you want done with the horse, not how to use your body as much. I guess I never really ran into that near as much. Now, giving lessons for sure. I mean, I'm as uncomfortable. I find it difficult giving, not for everything, but when it comes to, like parts, how do you move your body or how do you do that, then I'm more comfortable saying go to Lindsay and
Yeah.
whatever. But on an assistant where you're there all day, I don't know.
Delana talked about how women are caregivers. We take care of things not because we have to be, but often because we want that. So she said a lot of the same things that you did about facility managers, riding instructors, equine caregivers. We have an emotional investment in our students and our horses. Yeah, she said a lot of the same things. Well, I am wondering what everybody is thinking, and if I can find us here, maybe I can see what some of the... Nope. Can't see what anybody is saying. Can you pull us up on live there?
I don't know how.
Can you go to our Facebook page? Yeah, and then go to the live and just turn the volume down. Oh, there we are. Okay. So, Delana is saying that a women's career can get laywayed right at the time that they are at their physical peak. Yeah, that's a really interesting point too. With childcare, caregiving. Christine is saying women who are focused and competitive are often thought of more harshly than men. Yeah.
I don't know about in business, but I feel like that's fallen away side in the horse, like when we're at horse shows and stuff. And I mean,
I disagree with you, but okay. Go ahead.
I feel like you're either respected or you're not. I don't feel like I can name a bunch of women who, like, I'll sit there and watch them ride horses and have over the years, and I don't think anybody thinks that they're those words that were used. I think you'll hear just as many people gripe about that guy being this or that guy being that. I think it's more the person anymore than just, if it's a successful woman, doesn't mean she's those things to get there.
Gail's saying she has so many things to say. Your support system is the key, and many influences and decisions during your life impact the kind of support system you will have during your professional life, not the least of which is choosing a receptive partner. Tanya's saying, I think women have to work a lot harder before they're taken seriously. They have to prove themselves a lot more than a man, unfortunately. When it comes to training horses and showing horses, Tanya, is that what you mean? I think that's an age thing as well as a gender thing. And saying, I'm the same as Lindsay, I get made fun of for how serious I look at a show. It's not fair. High five for all the competitive ladies. Christine says it's easy for a man who is respected to say that. It's much harder for women. Guys seem to care less about what others say about them. We women have a tough time shutting off harsh comments. Yeah. I mean, I think there are certain things that you can get away with saying, like when we're teaching, you can get away with like really getting into somebody, yelling at somebody and telling them what to do more than I can in the same circumstance. I think, and I don't know whether it's because it's being received by women, but I think you can get in there and push somebody. You are more inclined to do it. But also when you do it, people are more willing to accept it than they are from me. Whereas when I get into somebody a little bit, they're more inclined to think that I'm really mad at them or that I'm not a nice person for doing the same thing, for pushing them in the exact same area of their riding. You don't think so?
Oh, I've made lots of people mad about stuff.
Oh,
like
you
that.
have, yeah. Yeah, you've done
I just
way
don't
more
worry
than me.
about it.
Yeah, yeah,
Either come back and you like it or you don't worry about it.
yeah, yeah,
You want to play the game? Let's go.
yeah. That's true. Yeah, I mean, this is an interesting topic. I feel like we could go back and forth and around in circles, and we could never have all of the answers. I think it's a lot of these things are getting better. Maybe it's getting better. I know definitely it's getting better as I get older. But I think being a young woman in the horse industry is a tough gig. It really is a really tough gig.
I think being young in the horse world is a tough gig.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say nothing. I've never been a young woman in the horse world.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're young, and normally what happens is you come out with one good horse first. And then everybody kind of goes, okay, will they make a second? Or,
Mm-hmm.
is this a fluke or is it going to work?
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to get that next because nobody wants to be there. And then you make the second one and they go, wow, he had two flukes. And I just know it from as being a young guy. I don't know it from the other side.
Yeah.
I feel like, to me, in today's day and age, I'm sure it was different. Well, 30 years ago, I guess I've been doing reiners for 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe it was different back then, but to me it was just, we were hungry to just make a horse and, be it. I didn't look at it as men and women. It was just, I feel like it was just the people, I guess it's the people you surround yourself with too. You could either make the horses or you couldn't. And I guess that's kind of a tough gig there for everybody, though. When you're young in the horse world, it's hard because nobody wants to give a young person those great horses. You can't beat the guys if you don't have great horses because if they're riding horse flesh is so important. So it's hard. It's, there are some that have rose to the top in both genders and from that young age, but you got to be stubborn. You got to stick with it. And I don't know because I've never been a young woman.
Yeah. And then there's also like all the other challenges outside of, physicality with dealing with horses. And, I think of this Facebook Live that we do. How many perverts have you had contact you and threaten you on the internet? We do this together every single week.
I don't have perverts. I've had crazy people. No perverts. I'm not that good looking either.
You've had crazy people?
Yeah.
Like what?
Couple. I ain't saying.
In case they're watching?
Yep.
You haven't had somebody make you feel threatened.
No. I think one thing that on stuff like that is whether you're a young woman or a young man, when you start out in this deal, you need to surround yourself with a really tight-knit group. you got to be, to me, you have to be the exact opposite of Facebook when you start out, or you will get your ego hurt so bad and you will not like it. You got to surround yourself with like 5 really good people that are all in on you. Like, let's make this work, and let's do this. If you get 100 friends, like, you get the Facebook mentality where everybody's your friend, you'll hear more BS and good, bad, or indifferent, and then you will get kicked around a little bit. And I don't know if that comes into play, whether that was just my personality or if that was just how guys are.
To have fewer friends?
Yeah, like...
I'm not sure where you're going with this.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, right? Like, to me, I just want the people I really like around me, and everybody else can just go away. And I mean, I have lots of friends. I mean, we know lots of people, but when it comes showtime and it comes time to really make horses, that's one thing I'm really big on. And I know lots of people have bashed on me over at the at the shows is, I'll talk to you or whatever. But then when I'm working at, I'm kind of doing my thing, and I remember being young and always, he's stuck up or he's this or he's that. No, I'm working on horses. And that was something that was explained to me very, very early is, you have a few friends in your life and the rest are all just static. They're all just there. And that's one thing I see now is like everybody worries about what everybody talks about on Facebook or, so-and-so said this about me. If you're going to be a horse trainer, boy, you better have some tough skin because they are going to bash you for everything you do. A horse goes out and have a bad run. It don't matter if you're a man or a woman. They're going to talk about it.
Yeah.
And it is what it is. And unfortunately, everybody's feelings will get hurt. And I think this is where maybe the man and the woman brain kind of differ is I'll take it personally, and and everybody's guilty for that, but to heck with it. And if I don't like somebody, I just don't talk to them. Like there's people at horse shows where I will not talk to them. I don't care. They could rot. I don't care. If they've been ignorant to my family and stuff like that, I don't care. And I don't need to make friends. I have enough friends.
I don't know how we got onto this.
Well, but I think the mentality
So
of like
as
when you get to
opposed
shows,
to-
you feel kind of beat up, as where guys can kind of
I
walk
do?
away. Well, no,
Women
but
do.
yeah, like I mean, I've coached women who,
Yeah.
oh, so and so said they didn't like
Yeah,
my show
yeah,
pad.
yeah, yeah.
I don't care.
Yeah.
I couldn't even tell you what color my show pad was today. Like,
Yeah.
what do I care?
Yeah.
And I think that's a big thing when we go to show, is how our brains kind of react to the things that are horse shows. People will say stuff, and doesn't really, like, I don't care what color my show pad was. I don't care what people thought about my show pad.
Yeah.
Having the ability to just go, well, tough, and I'm just here to show
Oh
my
well,
horse.
I'm just going to keep showing in an ugly pad. Lacey says, I think the glass ceiling exists in the horse world. It would be interesting to compare the number of female NRHA professionals to the number of female finalists.
There is a lot fewer NRHA professionals that are female. I tried to look up earlier and count, not the professionals, but the people that enter, let's say, the NRHA fraternity. There was a lot fewer females right off the bat that entered. So, I don't know. What does glass ceiling mean? I don't understand that expression.
Like a limit. Like there's a limit to how far a woman can get.
I don't believe there is. I mean, when you take the Abigail Mixons, the Sarah Dawsons, the Ann Funks, those girls can outride anybody.
And saying women in any field of work that has been male dominated, you have to work harder to get recognition. Yeah. Well, I think we've covered a lot of things here. I'm not not sure if we sorted anything out.
I don't think it ever will, because
No.
there's no right and wrong in this. Or there is right and wrong as far as whether you, like somebody just put there about, what is it, supporting girls to do this and stuff. You know, I don't think I've ever, or I hope I've never not supported a girl to say, hey, go show horse, you know, it can be a good deal and have fun. And if you want to pursue this, you can go from here. I don't think we're trying to get a right or wrong. It's not like there's a 2 + 2 = 4 answer, but it's an interesting thing when you see, like, the comments on there. The part that amazes me is the comments of, like, it is harder. And I guess I don't, and maybe this is the problem. I don't look at it like, come out with a good horse, win something. Boom,
Yeah.
you're done. And
what most people will say to that is that is your male privilege speaking, right? You have the privilege
that's what
of
I mean.
not
I've never had
knowing
it.
how
Yeah.
challenging it is to be a woman because you are not one, right? Just like white privilege, just like whatever the other privilege, all the other privileges that we have, right?
like, there's even a few of those women when they have things on Facebook, or they have, what are those things I listen to when I drive? Podcasts and stuff. That I will.
Let's just stop for 1 second and say that traditionally men are better at technology than women.
Not here.
Okay.
You know, but because they are good trainers and good riders, I mean, I'll listen to them. You know, I mean, I always thought the judging system kind of cleared all that up, though, as far as, you know, you run down there and +1 a stop. I don't think they look at, is it a Mrs. or a Mr.
So I think it was Sandy Collier, wasn't it, that was talking about how it used to be that she felt that she had to outwork the men to get scored the same, and now she doesn't. She doesn't feel that on Fapani's podcast. Did you listen to that one?
No, actually, my last trip down south, I was trying to get some of Fapani's pod, and I couldn't get it to work on my phone.
Surprising.
And I maybe it, you know, and I'm sure it was years ago. I mean, I've seen some judges say some really dumb things over the years. I've seen different races get brought up. I've seen, you know,
By judges?
Oh yeah. Over the years, I've heard some really stupid comments from some judges. And, you know, I'm sure so over the years, I'm sure that has been the case. But I would like to believe in today's way of showing that it's not. I would hope.
Yeah.
I guess I really hope, just for the sake of also 3 young girls coming up. Can we do a shout out for Caitlin for winning her?
Yes.
She made a
We
trail.
should definitely do a shout out to Caitlin. Yeah.
Anybody that didn't know, her high school, it's really cool. Her high school has a ag engineering after school project thing. And her and 3 people, the 4 of them made a flat deck trailer, and they now take it around just like you'd show a horse. And they had to keep track of costs, how they made it, a whole big thing. And they made a flat deck trailer.
And they took it to a competition in Fort Worth.
And they were, I forget the numbers. They won 1 division as they got in there, and then they were the top 10 in the other one. But it was a huge amount of numbers. It was really an amazing deal. And my favorite part, the picture that she sent me of the trailer, is at the high school, and their high school has a barn with livestock in it. And coming from Ontario, I think it's so cool that they have a high school that owns a manure spreader. That's my favorite part. I just think that was neat.
Okay, super. No, that was cool. That actually was really
And she already has her thing. She wants to make a shoeing trailer for next year.
cool. I didn't know that.
Oh, she is jacked up.
She's ready?
Oh yeah, and she wants to do this on her own. So there you go.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for being here with us tonight, you guys. I don't think we answered, I don't think we solved any world problems here tonight, but
In my
you
mind,
guys
we did.
asked, so you asked, so you got our answers. Right, wrong, or indifferent, I guess. We will be back next week on Tuesday. Send us in your questions about your horses and how we can help with your horses. We will be much more effective at answering those questions. Thanks for being here with
Do you know
us.
what the question is for next weekend?
No, I forget.
No.
Forget.
Have a good night.
Have a good night, guys.